Democrats who want to fight Trump are electrified by Sanders and Ocasio-Cortez. Bernie Sanders and his apparent heir, Alexandria, Ocasio-Cortez, have drawn enormous crowds on their Fighting Oligarchy tour, energizing a beaten-down Democratic Party. The biggest political rallies anywhere in America right now are being headlined by an 83-year-old senator in the twilight of his career and his 35-year-old protege. 36,000 people in Los Angeles in all. Denver has more than 34,000 attendees, and another 30,000 on Tuesday night near Sacramento, during their Fighting Oligarchy tour of western states. Those massive crowds, totaling more than 200,000 people, have gathered to support Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York's passionate anti-Trump and anti-billionaire message. Mr. Sanders even surprised attendees at the Coachella Music Festival near Los Angeles last week, popping on stage to introduce the singer Clairo and make an appeal to young people. As Democrats search for a spark after being routed in November, the two progressives are providing the kindling, offering the party's beaten-down base the fighting spirit it has been missing ever since President Trump returned to office. Even as some top Democrats tack to the center, or try to find common ground with the emboldened Republican president, Mr. Sanders and Ms. Ocasio-Cortez dismiss the notion of any concessions. Instead, they have stuck to the simple argument that won over millions during Mr. Sanders's two presidential campaigns, made him popular with working-class voters who voted against Democrats in November, because the system is broken and the wealthy benefit while the rest of us struggle. All over this country, people are struggling, every single day, just to survive. Mr. in Folsom, California, on Tuesday, Sanders told the crowd, "Brothers and sisters, in the richest country in the history of the world, we can do a hell of a lot better than that." Adapting that outdated message to a time when the richest person in the world is using his position in the federal government to benefit his businesses, Mr. Sanders is finding that Democrats are all ears. "Mad respect for him at this point," said Tammy Burgess, 52. A Democrat who attended the rally in Folsom, even though she has long been skeptical of Mr. Sanders' support for democratic socialism. She went on to say that she liked that they were fighting against the administration and this oligarchy, because many Democrats are too scared to do so. The day before their Folsom rally, Mr. Sanders and Ms. A Sanders spokeswoman stated that Ocasio-Cortez's appearance in Nampa, Idaho, drew 12,500 people, making it the largest political event there since Barack Obama's 2008 visit. His stat stated that the 36,000 people who attended his Los Angeles event last week were the largest of Mr. Sanders's career. The enormous turnout has surprised even Mr. Sanders's staff members, who have had to switch to larger venues to accommodate the crowds. In Folsom, attendees waited in a line 3 miles long to get in, the Sanders spokeswoman said, with thousands peering through fences and watching from nearby hills. What remains to be seen is whether the two leading progressives can sustain this momentum and channel it into victories for their movement in next year's midterm elections, or in 2028, when Mr. Sanders is unlikely to run again for president. Rebecca Katz, a veteran Democratic strategist, said Mr. Sanders's decades-long crusade against corporate power and inequality felt newly relevant to Democrats at a time when the income gap is growing. Editor's picks. WNBA. Draft picks dressed to impress. Haven't filed your taxes yet? Here are some last-minute tips. Tokyo's 5 favorite spots. According to Olivia Munn, a lot of people were ready for this years ago, but it kept getting swept under the rug, she said. More people are listening now than ever before. Ms. Katz said she thought Mr. Sanders's progressive pugilism would resonate widely, even if it needed tailoring for a diverse and fractured electorate, especially in wealthier areas. His spirit of opposition, she said, could be applied universally. This is not about left versus center. This is about, are you willing to fight or not? She said. That's it. In an interview before taking the stage on Tuesday, Mr. Sanders expressed confidence that the wave of anti-establishment anger could turn into something substantive for the left. His short-term goal is to highlight vulnerable Republican House members and hammer them on issues like potential cuts to Social Security, Medicare and Medicaid. In Folsom, at the edge of the conservative foothills, stretching between Sacramento and Lake Tahoe, any mention of the area's Republican congressman, Kevin Kiley, was met with boos from the crowd. But Mr. Sanders said he also wanted to hire organizers to help build a broader movement that would challenge the establishment in both parties, an aim he has long pursued, with limited success. The goal is to build a grassroots movement who will not only take on Republican incumbents, but also will demand that whoever represents districts in this country stands for the working class, he said. If you have incumbent Democrats who are not prepared to do that, they're going to be challenged. Whether voters will ultimately trust proudly left-wing leaders to run the country is an open question. Mr. Sanders, a longtime independent who recently suggested that more progressive candidates should run as independents, offered Dan Osborne, an independent who challenged Senator Deb Fischer, a Republican from Nebraska, in a serious but unsuccessful bid last year, as an illustration of how to run on a working-class platform outside of the Democratic Party. Mr. Osborne, a union leader, ran on strengthening labor protections, raising wages and enhancing railway safety. Asked whether he had talked recently with former President Joseph R. Biden Jr. or Kamala Harris, the former Vice President, Mr. Sanders said he had spoken with Mr. Biden shortly after the election, though he would not say what they discussed. He also seemed skeptical of the two Democrats' role in the movement he envisions. I think that the future of the Democratic Party is not going to rest with the kind of leadership that we've had, he said. Other signs point to a growing appetite for the kind of message Mr. Sanders and Ms. Ocasio-Cortez are offering. Both raised staggering sums of money in the first 3 months of the year. According to new financial filings, Mr. Ms. Sanders raised $11.5 million. $9.6 million was brought in by Ocasio-Cortez. Other, more moderate Democrats with an unflinching anti-Trump message, like Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut, also posted impressive hauls. Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, who is frequently referred to as in very early and highly speculative Democratic presidential primary polls for 2028, Sanders' heir has trended upward, but her intentions remain unclear, with some Democrats hoping that she will instead mount a primary challenge to Senator Chuck Schumer of New York, who leads the Senate Democratic Caucus and is up for re-election in 2028. On Tuesday, she blasted Mr. Trump, demanding that he free pro-Palestinian activists whom he has sought to deport, and that he order the return of a migrant whom his administration erroneously deported to El Salvador. She also mentioned the prominent role that the billionaire Elon Musk played in Mr. Trump's administration as evidence that the wealthy have corroded America's political system, recounting how a plane had flown over the rally, trailing a sign proclaiming, "Folsom is Trump country." Ms. Ocasio-Cortez pointed to the skies and declared, to laughter and applause, "It sure don't look like it today." She added, "I don't think this is Trump country, I think this is our country." Ms. Ocasio-Cortez also assailed the president in deeply personal terms, suggesting that if he wants to find the rapists and criminals in this country, he needs to look in a mirror. Today, Republicans should be wary of Mr. Sanders' ability to appeal to voters in an authentic way. That is not dissimilar to how Mr. Trump captured their attention, said Landon Wall, a conservative strategist whose firm, Gray House, conducts polls for Republican senators. He noted the Coachella appearance as an example, but Mr. Wall suggested that by criticizing other Democrats, progressives could simply end up fracturing the party. It's a clear sign that a Tea Party-style insurgency is building inside the Democratic Party, he said. Explicitly targeting incumbents will open the door to costly, divisive primary battles. Mr. Sanders' rallies have also drawn independents, and even some disaffected Republicans, who, the senator suggested, were having a little bit of buyer's remorse after watching Mr. Trump slash the federal workforce. Faiz Shakir, an advisor to Mr. Sanders, stated that 21% of those who registered to attend Mr. Sanders' events reported that they were independents. and 8% said they were Republicans. At the Folsom rally, some Democrats, who in the past had backed other candidates, said they were coming around to Mr. Sanders's way of thinking. Fred Holton, 84, a self-described political independent, said he had no particular affection for Mr. Sanders. But he showed up, he said, because he was worried about the country's direction, and wasn't seeing anyone else on the left taking charge. There's got to be somebody buried in there who has some brains, Mr. Holton said. But I'm not seeing the Democrats really coming through.